Tony D'Angelo wins North American title on WWE NXT, ends Oba Femi's reign at 274 days. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. For WWE Family latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. What are the most historic matches in WWE? If you were to ask Vince McMahon, the answer would be all of them, pal. While not every match in McMahon land can be historic, there have been many matches that have changed the landscape of pro wrestling or sports entertainment. We're going to look at which matches left the biggest mark on the business. While there are plenty of historic matches, we believe these matches are the most historic because of their long-lasting influence and far-reaching implications for the business. They weren't just memorable, they changed the business. So while Rock vs. Hogan makes all the highlight reels, and WWE claims Roman vs. Brock number 756 was the biggest WrestleMania match ever, neither really changed anything. These matches did. Admittedly, there's definitely a bias for the 80s and 90s because, frankly, those were the most popular and historic eras. Are you ready to mark out or elbow drop your laptop in Rage Nature Boy Buddy Rogers vs. Bruno Sammartino, May 17, 1963 at Madison Square Garden? WWE history can be divided into BV, Before Vince, and Anno Hulkamania. However, many big things happened during Vincent J. McMahon's ownership of WWE, or rather, the WWF or Worldwide Wrestling Federation. Choosing just one big moment was a challenge. But when considering what it meant for the then WWF and pro wrestling at large, we went with Nature Boy Buddy Rogers versus Bruno Sammartino for the WWF Championship on May 17, 1963 at Madison Square Garden. Proving a match doesn't have to be epic to be historic. Sammartino beat the supposedly ailing Rogers in 48 seconds to win his first world championship, becoming the second WWF champion ever. The backstory was more interesting than the match, as Rogers claimed he was forced out of his hospital bed following a heart attack, while Sammartino claimed he had to threaten Rogers to do business in the ring, saying, "We can do this the easy way or the hard way." Whichever version you believe, the outcome began Bruno's nearly 8-year reign that's unlikely to ever be equaled, though Roman Reigns is trying, including selling out MSG an incredible 187 times. Sammartino's 2,803-day reign ended to Ivan Koloff on January 18, 1971, shocking the crowd into stunned silence and causing grown men to weep. It was an historic moment that capped off one of the most historic title reigns ever. Hulk Hogan and Mr. T vs. Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff, WrestleMania. Vince McMahon bought the WWF from his father on June 6, 1982 for a little more than $640,000. Less than 2 years later, McMahon put the WWF Championship on former AWA star Hulk Hogan, who defeated the Iron Sheik for the title on January 23, 1984 in Madison Square Garden, kicking off Hulkamania and the Rock and Wrestling Connection. Hulkamania ran wild over the next year as McMahon began his nationwide takeover of the sport, leading to one of pro wrestling's most historic nights. March 31, 1985. WrestleMania cemented Hogan's status as the face of WWF and pro wrestling in general, as well as McMahon's vision for a national pro wrestling brand. While WrestleMania wasn't the original pro wrestling supercard, that was End of A's third-cade in 1983. It brought pro wrestling to the mainstream, with cameos from such divergent stars as Cyndi Lauper, Muhammad Ali, Liberus, and the Rockettes. We can debate how important Liberus was to WrestleMania's success, but there's no denying that the main event made the biggest impact. Hogan teamed with one of the era's biggest stars, Mr. T, to take on Rowdy Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. McMahon reportedly could have lost everything had WrestleMania failed. Thanks to this tag team bout on top, a tag match wouldn't close WrestleMania again until 2023. WrestleMania was cemented as the Super Bowl of pro wrestling, and the WWF as pro wrestling's undisputed leader. Hulk Hogan vs. Andre the Giant. WrestleMania. The WWF booked 3 arenas for WrestleMania 2. What could be bigger for Mania anao'i? Selling out one of the largest venues in the world, the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, just outside Detroit. Booking a stadium was a bold move and needed a main event big enough to sell thousands of tickets. The Killer Bees Explode wasn't going to cut it. There was only one matchup of this magnitude in the pro wrestling world: WWF champion Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. Hulkamania had been running wild for 4 years, while Andre maintained his aura of invincibility as a special attraction. Both guys were good guys, so to fix